And we're live on Facebook with Time Out. This is Time Out with Adan Hernandez. Time Out with Adan Hernandez.
You got the volume on that?
And today's guest is none other than my brother from another father and another mother, Gamaliel Rosa.
Hola, hola. What's going on, my peoples?
There he is. I can see him now. Welcome to the show, Gamaliel Rosa.
I'm here. Yay.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, brother.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for taking the time. We were supposed to go live at about 3. So we're only like 4 hours late.
Only 4 hours late, yeah. wait till that last girl, that last chick at the end. This one.
That's the one.
Oh, man.
So, again, we're only 4 hours late, but we're here, and we have, 3 viewers? So we're breaking records.
We're breaking records today.
Of ratings here. This is the kind of cutting-edge content that we're producing.
Yeah.
Here. That is 4 hours late.
4 hours late.
And it has 2 viewers or 1.
Yeah, we got I'm on my phone as well, just looking here to see who we're about to share this to all my friends too. So we got Jose Rosa from Jersey. And
that's our other brother. From your same mother and my different
father. Yeah.
father.
We got Pablo Hernandez from your brother.
From my brother from my same mother and father, and you're different.
Yeah, and then we have my tocayo, which is another person with my same name, who's your nephew, and from Venezuela.
And he's from my sister's. That's his mother.
Same mother, same father. Yeah.
Okay.
Over there from Venezuela.
That's my nephew there. That's my boy. That's my dude.
Yeah, man. So
good, man. So what's that? That's more than 2.
That's more than 2. That's 4.
Wow. So
I'm going to share. I'm trying to share this to my page.
Yeah, see here. Oh wow. And you know who else is on?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Jose Rosa Jr. I thought it was Jose Rosa Sr. But he's not on.
Yeah. Let me do this.
Even though we called them before the show to be on. But he's not on.
Of new show. I'm just doing a post here.
Okay.
It's called Time Out, right? You said the show is called?
Time Out with Adan Hernandez.
Time Out. So I'm just sharing it on my page now. All right. So I'm going to put this down so that way we can, and then you should see a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
All right.
Like if you look at my page, it says right there on the top of the video.
Nice.
I did that myself.
Good job.
Thank you. I'm learning how to do things.
You're learning, right?
It took me 2 hours to get a clean signal on my camera because it was showing the battery life and the dates and the counters and all the information from the camera. Took me 2 hours, a good 2 hours to clean that out.
Yeah, it's because you're amazing.
Yeah.
We rock it out, dude. We try to do what we do.
Yeah, that's how we do it. We take 2 hours, but we get it done. We're 4 hours late, but we're here.
Yeah, man. It's awesome.
This is awesome, man. So what do we want to talk about? We should probably prepare some content and topics ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean that would have been great. I don't know, man. It's up to you, dude.
Okay, so let's start with you. Let's talk about you.
I'm the guest, right?
Yeah, since you're the guest, and you're one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
Okay.
I usually do it behind your back, but today I'm gonna do it right in front of you.
I love you too, brother. I love you too.
Nah. You're my brother. What I say behind your back is nothing that I wouldn't say to your face. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, thanks.
So tell us a little bit about yourself for those who know you and those who don't know you. Everybody who's listening knows you, but just in case I forgot.
Yeah. So my name is Gamaliel Rosa. Go to Casa de Perdón Church here, which this is the location we're at. And my parents are the pastors of this church. We got Bishop Jose Rosa and Pastor Elizabeth Rosa, who hopefully are watching. And I've been living in Connecticut all of my life, and I love music. Started playing drums at a young age. Was the worship drummer here forever. Now my nephew is the drummer, and I try to get in once in a while because I'm coming out of retirement. Or I came out of retirement already. And that's it, man. Just doing the do. Have two beautiful children. Josiah, who's 8, Hannah, who's 5. And, you know, my life revolves around them. Just doing music, and I teach at Watertown High School as a Spanish teacher. And, just living life during this quarantine. As you can see, everybody, we're 6 feet apart. So
social distancing.
Social distancing.
I was already social distancing from him since 1978 or so, but
that's a ha ha. Oh man. Yes. Yeah. So trial run with all the sound effects we got. So
we're just here to play with the sound effects. That's all. The whole interview concept is just a joke.
Yeah.
It's just to play with the buttons.
This is an excuse just to play with stuff.
Yep.
Because we're bored. We're bored.
We gotta find something to do in this quarantine stuff. Anyway, so you mentioned quite a bit there in that little rundown. So you were born here in Connecticut, and then you mentioned that at an early age you started playing drums.
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit more about that. Like what inspired you to pick up the drums as opposed to the cowbell or something else? Since
Piano,
we always need more cowbell.
More cowbell, right?
And how was that process of getting from zero to at an early age to get into wherever you are now?
Wherever I'm at now.
Yeah.
So let's see. I started playing probably when I was 7 years old, 6 or 7. Here at church we had a couple of drummers go by. And the one that the last drummer that we had was our good friend Nico Martinez, who I was talking to my brother the other day. I owe a lot to, right? Because watching Nico play,
we all do.
Yeah, we owe a lot to Nico. Watching Nico play wanted me. I was driven to that, which a lot of kids are kind of driven to the drums because you get to bang on stuff with sticks and stuff. So, I was looking at him, and I would go home and play with pots and pans, and my mother would get upset. And as I was, I think I started playing at church, probably 8. It took me about a year, and just knowing 2 or 3 rhythms, and then that's when we started the worship band, and that the worship band here actually started when you arrived here.
Yep, that was 1994.
1994.
Well, I got here in 93. We started the worship team in January 1994.
Yeah, so I was turning 9 years old, or turning 8 years old at that time. And, I just knew a couple of beats. It was straight up rock and then ballads. And that's pretty much all I knew. And reggae. Coritos. Right?
Bacalao.
Que se matendo. Right? So started playing then, and then from 9 to 12 or 13 was when we were playing everywhere. We were just doing a bunch of stuff and nothing crazy. I would listen to music, and I was always a salsa head, so I was salsa, and I was we never played salsa there. But I did what I did. Or with what I knew, I perfected that and just played that. But when I got into high school, like that 13 age, because I'm on the younger side of going to school, so I was 13, and at school I caught the bug of like really wanting to learn my craft and learn my music, and dude, I got addicted to drums, man. I got addicted to drums. I would research everything, trying to figure out, different rock patterns, different R&B patterns, how to play. Songo was the one. The Songo is a very complicated Afro-Cuban rhythm that I learned from our good old friend Noel Casiano.
That's always the tricky one.
Yeah, and that was one that it was crazy, dude. It you're doing limb independence, 3 different things and trying to play. And once I got that, I wanted to incorporate that in church. And I remember every time we played it in church, I'm like, "Yo, Adam, I played the Songo. I played Songo." And I would count every time until I
remember it. Yeah, and that was quite an accomplishment because I can bang on the drums, but I could never in my wildest dreams do a Songo.
Yeah, it was
unless it's like one beat every second, like
yeah.
That's my Songo.
Yeah, so it was, once I was able to accomplish this regular rhythm of Songo, it opened up my eyes to there's so much more that I can learn. And my high school years, it was that, just tocando batería, tocando todo. And I think from the ages 14, 15, 16, that's when things started to get insane. Started playing in a lot of different churches. They would invite me to go play, all the culto de jóvenes, the youth services, and go play. And we got Pablo here says, "Did you ever play a CB drum set? Remember, CB is for Christian Bacalao drums." Yeah, I remember our first drum set here was a CB 700. Yeah,
when I got here, the church's drum set was a Christian Bacalao 700.
Yep, it was one of the best drum sets. It's what I learned on, and it sounded like latas.
Yeah, it didn't have skins on the bottom of the drums, so it sounded really with a lot of reverb, doom.
Yeah, it would ring out.
You will hit it on a Sunday when we came for prayer on Tuesday. It was still ringing. Still ringing.
So So I remember we would play that, and then it was just cool, man. I mean, that just remember that those years of playing here really molded who I was as a musician. And we had a lot of musicians come by here too. So for example, growing up playing with my brother, right, with Junito, on bass, we had. Who else did we had? We had my uncle Beltran on guitar. We had the Velez clan, playing. There was we had trombone players at one point. We had trumpet players. We had saxophone players.
Yep. Flute player.
Flute player. We had congas with Luis de San Rijos. A bunch of singers.
Eliezer.
Yep. We had. I mean, for me, the worship that we did at church, it has evolved so much. So many people that we've gone through our church to go. There's a whole clan in Virginia right now doing stuff, right?
Yep.
And that's always inspired me as well. Just feeding off of other people and doing that. So again, playing drums has been in my DNA forever. So I want to say, I think the biggest accomplishment, the biggest thing that really marked my life was when we traveled to Venezuela.
Yeah, that was a good experience. Tell us your side of it.
Yeah, so
I was then I can tell mine.
Yeah, I was 19 years. We were 18 or 19.
That was 04.
04. So roughly 19. Or I would say 19. Yeah, 19 going on 20, and that was an experience because we were touring here in Connecticut with Adan Hernandez. Yep. We were touring with her first production, and we were going all over Connecticut, doing that. We went to New York
We went to New York, New Jersey, a couple of other places.
A couple of other places, and which was cool. And then we decided we were invited to go play in Venezuela, which for me was a big thing, and for you was a big thing because we hadn't seen your family in a long time. It was the first time I was going to see the family, and going to Venezuela was just amazing. It's still here in my heart. And when we went, we met your father, which was an earth shattering for me, right? Because I'm like,
that's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show.
My
just
dad
your dad
is a whole other show.
And then staying in Caracas, we lost a bag. We were supposed to come back, and it was a mess. We ended up getting to your house, and meeting your family, and your brother and your sisters, and dude, fell in love with your family, and fell in love with Venezuela. That was just an amazing thing. We stayed with them for a couple of time, and then we decided to go to when we were with the other church, and we were playing at the baseball stadium in Caracas. It was like, I don't know, like 7,000, 9,000 people.
No, it was more like 12,000.
Yeah, it was thousands of people up there. It was up there. Yep. The whole baseball stadium was filled. So whoever knows the Caracas baseball college stadium, that the capacity, the thing was packed. And that event was just insane. I mean, insane as in awesome, and also insane as in crazy.
Yeah, I remember.
The biggest thing that happened, it was that we had to get the drum set.
Yeah,
there was no drum set. I flew from the United States to Venezuela, and there was no drum set. We're just waiting. The stage is on second base, facing the stadium, and there's like, "Yo, where's the drum set?" And it was like, "We don't know. You were supposed to order it." "Oh no, you were supposed to order it." And it was just finger pointing to everyone.
Yeah, and there is Pablo Hernandez, my brother, who's listening. He's the one that came up with the drum set.
Yeah, so it was like last minute. We had like less than half an hour, and still no drum set. It was in a taxi somewhere going through, and I think we were supposed to go on. Like it was like 10 minutes and no drum set. Then all of a sudden they're like, the drum set's outside of the stadium, like it's in a taxi, and I'm like, well, let's hurry up and go get it. So it's like 5 of us go. We go grab the drum set, and we find out that the heads are not screwed on to the drum set, bro.
that I don't remember.
Oh, dude, the heads were off because it couldn't fit into the taxi. So he took off some of the heads and stuck them inside, and everything was out. I'm like, bro, we have 10 minutes. Like, I remember the band was already like on, the prayer was already happening, and they're like the band is about to start playing. So I'm putting everything together. Dude, my heart is going a million miles a second. I'm putting everything together. I tried to tune it the best I could. And then, I mean, literally, with 3 seconds, and the worship team's already like, let's praise God and clap your hands. And I remember that Julitin, who was the leader there, and he says, God bless everybody. Que el Señor le bendiga. And then you just heard 10,000 people just say, Amen! And I was just like, yo.
It's a whole ball game, yeah. It's a whole different thing.
Oh, my God. And not only did we have to, like, I had to put the skins on, and I had to mic the drum set there. So there was no, there was like 3 mics, 1 on the bass drum, 1 on the snare, and like 1 tom. And I had like 2 cymbals, and they were all jacked up. It was insane, dude. I remember we played that set. We played like 5 songs. I think it was like 5 songs or something like that. And
to start with, we played like several other sets throughout the afternoon. But
I just remember at the end of that first set, and I'm freaking out.
Yeah, Pablo remembers. He says that.
I'm doing, like every drummer's. And when I go back to hit that last cymbal, I pulled a muscle in my back, bro. Like right here on my el chicho de derecho acá, like this little fat roll over here, bro. I caught a cramp, and I was like, But it was, I'm telling you, man, Venezuela was a place that it marked my life so much. I fell in love with Venezuela. I fell in love with your family, and been dying to go back ever since, man. It's just an amazing, such an amazing place. And
that was a crazy trip. Like, up until probably a week before we left, we didn't even know if we were going to go.
Yeah.
Because I remember buying our plane tickets, yours and mine, probably a week or less before we left. I've had to go to, because we had some of the money, but we didn't have it all. And then I had to go to Pastor Hernandez and said, listen, Gami and I are a package deal. We have enough for one plane ticket and then a little more for the second. We don't have all the money for the second. If you don't help us out, we're not going to be able to go.
Yep.
And he immediately said, oh, no, that's not going to happen. You're going to go.
Yeah.
And the next day he said, stop by. I'll give you the rest of the money. And you two are going. You cannot go without you two.
Yeah.
And so God made everything happen just in time on that trip, on everything.
Yeah.
And I remember he had to make a really long prayer to open the event because we're still screwing stuff onto the drum set. There was 7 hands on that drum set, just screwing stuff in, and with drum keys and screwdrivers and microphones and wires and all kinds of stuff.
It was
right
insane,
up to the last second. But it is quite the experience. I have played in events that had probably 2,000 people or less.
Yeah.
And I thought that was big, and that is big.
Yeah, 2,000 is a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. I used to, when I was back in Venezuela, I used to belong to this organization called the Christian Coordinators University.
Universe.
Something or other, like. It was the Christian coordinator for students, college students, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But anyways, in that organization, we have members, Christian students from several universities all over Venezuela, and once a year we will get all together in one place. Mm-hmm. And I happened to go to a couple of those events. One of them was in the city where I lived, in Barquisimeto. And we will pack 1,500 people a night in our 700 people capacity church.
Yeah.
So I thought those events were big. And then we did a couple of, road events with that organization that were about 2,000 people or so. And I thought that was huge until I play in front of 12,000. When you have 12,000 people singing back at you, it's a whole other different experience. It's crazy. It's insane. Something that I have never lived since then, and I really have nothing else to compare it to.
Yeah, it was an experience, dude. I mean, like, I remember we were sitting at the dugout.
Yep.
We were sitting in the dugout, like, listening to everything. There was a big old stage up there, and just the walk from the dugout to the thing was just nervous because everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, I felt like Mariano Rivera. Like, almost like
yeah, man.
Here comes the Sandman.
Here comes the Sandman. Yeah, man. That's insane. But yeah, that was it. I'm telling you. But not. I mean, that was that one event, that big event.
But then we did a bunch of
other ones,
church events in several different places, and that was also fun.
Yeah,
I got to play with my brother, which that was a treat in and of itself.
Yeah, I
got to play with Pablo, which it's always a treat because I don't get to do it very often. At all.
I don't.
Yeah, so I think that was nice to do, and I was amazed by how much he had grown in ministry. Like, I had heard a couple of things online and videos you see here and there, but when you record video of a phone, it doesn't really sound all that great until you hear him live.
Yeah. And
then you see the stuff that he can do with his voice.
Yeah.
We need to bring him here urgently.
I think, and this is the thing that amazes me, right? And we've talked about it. It's that me and Pablo are the same age.
Yep.
And that when you came from Venezuela, it's like, you didn't escape the 8-year-old, that 8-year-old mentality of a child. You left Pablo over there, then you got me as a gift. But I think when I went back over there, when we went to Venezuela and I met Pablo, and we got to hang with him. We got to talk to him. We got to do a bunch. And I looked at Pablo and I just said, wow, I want to be like that guy. Like, but because his mentality in worship was just so farther than we thought.
He's always been since he was a little kid. He was way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
In many things. And I've always been proud of him because of that. And one of my biggest regrets is that I was not there when he was growing up. From the time he was 8 until whenever I saw him again, he was just through phone and emails and things like that. But it's not the same.
Yeah.
I was busy here with another pain in my butt that quite often Junie and I had to rein you in on the drums, and there's the catchphrase from Junie, like whenever you do a 10-second cut, we will go,
was that necessary?
Was that really necessary?
Yeah, it's what we tell AJ now. Which
and I thought I was done once you turned 14 and you started getting it, but no, then I had to do it all over again.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and I had you to thank for that.
So but we're going back to Venezuela. I think that I think there was one place that we played with Pablo, and it was like some church that looked like almost like a theater. And there's a picture somewhere. I think you have it.
By the way, Junie says that you still do stuff that is not really necessary.
Yeah, that's my brother right there. But I think it's we look at that, and we've always talked about it. Just we pray that one day that we can get Pablo in the States, and we're praying. And now he's in Malta, and he's doing his thing, and we're proud of him, and we love him. We're praying for him and making sure that he's good over there with his wife. So saludo a Pablo, te amamos, we love you, man. We wish you all the best over there, and hopefully we can reconnect soon. So once this coronavirus is done, we're getting plane tickets to go to Malta.
Yeah, we gotta go there.
Even if it's just me and you, I'll bring my sticks. You bring a piano.
Yeah,
we're out.
We're already praying to see what's his next stop.
Yeah.
And we hope that it includes at least a temporary stop here.
Yeah.
If not a permanent one, but we're praying and just letting God do His thing.
Yeah.
It's been a long time in the making, but but we are praying and we hope that if not permanently, at least to visit, we'll be able to have him here once this whole thing is done and over with.
Yeah.
And some other things need to fall into place, like the situation in Venezuela and how Venezuelans are not allowed in the country here anymore. And it's some other things that God has to solve before we can bring Pablo. But we're praying and we're trusting God that eventually in time will happen, and it will be that much sweeter if it takes even longer to happen.
Yeah. But it's a thing that we want to do. That just understanding that it's all in God's time, and that when that time comes, it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect. So
before we continue, I have to say hello to my good friend from Venezuela, Andres Caballero. He's watching the program, and I reconnected with him through Facebook, and he's just mentioning that he's watching the program, and it's been about 30 years since we've seen each other. We went to high school together. We did things that are unmentionable together.
See, hey, I've been telling you to get a Facebook for a minute, bro. And he's like, you finally succumbed to the issue.
Andres, it's good to hear from you, and I hope you're doing well, and lots of blessings to you. Anyways, let's go.
Yeah, man. So, I just think, I know that the Venezuelan trip marked your life. Marked my life from a musical perspective, from a family perspective, that I was able to connect that. And that was one of the things as a kid that I couldn't understand, right? You were an alien, legitimately an alien coming into the United States. And I had no idea that Venezuela existed. I was 8 years old. I didn't even know what Connecticut was, like what the United States looked on a map. But understanding there's a whole other world with other Hispanics that that has such an amazing culture. And dude, when we came back, I just remember on the flight, like, dude, we need to plot a way to get back here. Like, we need to come back. And this year I was like, man, throughout the years, these last five, Venezuela's been in dire need for a while now. So, wanting to go back was always like dangerous.
I went back in 2013, and already the country was much different than what we saw in 2004.
Yeah.
Which wasn't, great, but it was still functioning.
Yeah.
The country was still functioning back in 2004. You can still find food.
Yeah.
You can still, buy things if you had the money for it. And when I went in 2013, things were starting to get pretty bad. Like things that we never thought we would see in Venezuela, like making a line to buy toilet paper. It was starting to happen, and that's what I'm getting at.
It's like we're seeing that here now.
It was starting to happen in 2013 in Venezuela, and then from there on, it's been a continuous thing that people have to line up in the front of the stores for hours to get food and all kinds of necessities and poverty and all kinds of stuff. And then if I didn't think I will see that kind of stuff in Venezuela, I even less thought I will see it in the United States. And then here we are.
Yeah.
Making lines for toilet paper and,
everything else.
Going to stores and waiting for hours until they unload a truck and hoping that the stuff we need is on that truck that just came in. It's insane seeing this kind of stuff that I saw in Venezuela back in 13 and subsequent years and thought will never ever happen here. Here we are. Yeah. So it's been a kind of an interesting, several months.
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. I mean, like just thinking about it, like, so every year that would pass by that hadn't gone, and I remember that your parents had come twice, right?
Just once,
or they came
2015,
once.
Yeah.
And they were here, and I just wanted to keep them here because they were just amazing. So every year, even I would always keep tabs. So I've been teaching at Watertown for since 2008. 2008. So we're going on 12 years.
12, 13.
And every time every time I hint towards Venezuela or talk about Venezuela, I'm like, so I went to Venezuela and I went with my brother and we went over there and we're handling da-da-da. We talked about all the food that we ate, the tequeños, the hamburguesa, the sandwiches, the whole nine.
Talk to me about the food. Well, talk to everybody about the food, not to me, because I if you see me, see how big I am. This is part of it is Venezuela food, but so I know all about it. But tell the people who are listening about Venezuelan food.
Okay. So I'm in love with Venezuelan food, right? So I'm in love with food, period. Like we have a very strong, weird relationship.
I never met a food I didn't like.
Exactly. So I think that when we went to Venezuela and we were there, we went to the behind the stadium. There was a food truck area, and we went and we had this hamburguesa, which for most of us in the continental United States, intercontinental United States, it's just a cheeseburger. But in Venezuela, they took it a whole other level, like 14 degrees higher than a regular burger.
I was gonna say it's not a whole other level; it's like 7 other levels.
Yeah, it's insane. So I just remember that we had it was like a bun, like a roll. It was a roll that had steak, chicken, chorizo, chuleta, and then all layered together with like those potato sticks and 3 different types of cheeses that Venezuela has. And then on top of that, they put a fried egg and then aguacate and then guasacaca sauce. That sounds disgusting, but it's an amazing tomatillo sauce that is just to die for, and ketchup and mayonnaise. And then this thing is like legitimately was like a good 7 inches like thick, bro. And I'm over here like, I remember looking at you, I'm like, bro, ¿cómo se come esto? Like, how do you eat this, bro? And you say, con la boca, with your mouth. So, bro, I just remember looking at this thing. The guy cuts it in half, and I'm just like, bro, I don't know. And then I look at you, and you're already halfway done with your first half. I'm like, I guess we're just gonna have to go to town. There's a picture somewhere of that one too.
Somewhere it's a picture.
So I'm over here looking, and dude, and it must have been like 3 pounds. It must have been like 3 pounds, like hefty. So I'm over there, and I go into and to bite it, and I go to town, but I could only eat half because I was like, dude, I just remember at 20 years old, 19, 20 years old, I was looking good, bro. I was like 185 pounds, bro. Yo estaba creepy cookie. Yo estaba lo más chulo. And I was like, I ate that, and you were already done with yours because you don't even chew when you eat. And I go, yo, I can't finish this. And he was like, give it to me. And you ate my other half. I was like, no, I couldn't. It was insane. And then we had this thing called tequeños, which are like mozzarella sticks wrapped in masa, like in dough. But those tequeños were not tequeños; they were tecoños. But like these things, like huge, man. The thing like this big, almost like like legit. It was like almost like a foot and a half long, bro. It was huge. And then so then we had that with mayo ketchup, which that was the year that I was introduced to mayo ketchup from Venezuela, and I was like, yo, this is amazing. And then we had, what else? Oh, and then every morning in your house when we were there, we had arepas.
Yep.
Oh, bro. Arepas is a whole other scenario. It's a whole lifestyle that you got to do. It's just insane.
I have friends who are only friends with me because I can make arepas.
Yeah,
they know who they are.
They're not. I don't know if they're watching right now, but
they know who they are.
Do you know? Where's the camera? You know who you are. Oh, but so, anyways, so now, so yeah, and the thing was, I never knew how much arepas would be a part of my life after that, because we had arepas every morning, and then like for like a snack, and then the cheese, the handmade cheese from over there, insane. The handmade cheese. I mean, just having arepas over there, and we came back and we're like, yeah, we need to make arepas. We need to find. So it's so in my system that when we drove to New York. No, we were going to New Jersey to visit my brother, Junito, over there.
Coming back from Juni's, yeah.
And Luis Rijo says, yeah, I'm one of them. So we went to go visit my brother in Jersey, and then we were traveling back, and I said, yo, Adan, there's a place in New York that sells stuff, and I want to go. Like, do you make a pit stop? And you're like, yeah, sure.
Hey,
we go into...
If it's arepa,
if it's
I'll
arepa,
go anywhere
let's
for
go.
arepa.
So we go to this place called Cachapas y Más in New York, and when we went, it, like... we had to find this parking. It took us like 15 minutes just to get there. We get into the place, and you like start freaking out because it's like, oh, I haven't had that in years. I haven't had that in years. I haven't had that in years. And
I wanted one or three of each thing in the menu, and there was like at least 50 things in the menu, and I seriously thought about getting them all.
Yeah, it was insane. So I never had a cachapa. I didn't know what a cachapa was. But the thing was that arepas were there, and I was like, yo, let's get an arepa. And I'm like, but yo, this cachapa looks banging. Like, I got to try this out. And then on my Instagram, on my food Instagram, because I got two Instagrams. I got a food Instagram just for food because I'm not fat. And then I have my drum Instagram called Gami Rosa Drums. So you guys, yeah. Is that pressure sensitive?
No, it just the volume.
Oh, the volume. I'm about to say, bro,
the
el equipo tuyo está de madre. So we go there, and on my Instagram, and AJ was with me. He helped me record a video of the cachapa with the cheese just melting, bro. And I just remember, so we had the drink, which was the chicha. Was it chicha? Right?
Chicha.
There was the rice water milk, rice water drink.
Milk, yeah.
And I just saw it, like when you took a sip of it, your eyes went back, and like, I don't know if you remember have you seen the movie Ratatouille? So if you see the movie Ratatouille, there's a point where the food critic, who's the bad guy of the movie, is tasting the ratatouille for a minute, and he like goes back in time in his until he was like I saw you go back to Venezuela.
I did.
Dude, it was the most like that paid its own ticket for admission.
It was chicha, this drink from over there, but it was made by Venezuelans.
Yep.
Who know how to make it right.
Yeah.
And he had everything, the condensed milk and the cinnamon and everything. And
so
it was, I had an experience.
Yeah, man. So it was just like that Venezuela. So I had so much invested in Venezuela at that point, like the music, your family, the experience of playing out as a musician. Because like, you know, us church musicians, we play here at the church. Like, you know, the drum set's behind me. You know, that's where we live. Yep. And to venture outside of church, to go to another church was an experience, right? You're like, oh, we get to play in front of other people. Like, this is what we do. We're gonna go worship in front of other people. Like, this is awesome, right? Yep. We're just checking stuff off your bucket list, and to do that outside was just awesome, dude. Like, just playing and but yeah. My hope and desire is to one day be able to go back to Venezuela, enjoy the country, look at it. And I know for you, too, it's like, you know, just hoping to see your family, but just that the culture and the place of that land is just – so a piece of me stayed in Venezuela, and I love it to death, man. Love it to death.
My family and I, we vacation almost every year in Florida, and the reason
we gotta let people know that our camera guy,
our camera director Adan Hernandez just fell asleep.
It's a 13-year-old,
and I think his sugar levels might be a little low because he keeps complaining that he's hungry.
Oh, does that remind you of someone?
How you doing there?
Does that remind you of somebody?
Yeah, it's somebody we know. There was this kid. One time, back in 94 or so,
94.
We went on a long weekend trip on Columbus Day to Vermont and New Hampshire just to visit out there, see the leaves changing colors, and go to flea markets and whatnot. And the entire 3.5-hour trip to get there to our hotel, Gamaliel was complaining that he was hungry.
Yeah, but go ahead. I'm gonna give him my piece in a minute.
Yeah. We did have some stuff to eat, you know, not a lot. And granted, you know, in his defense, probably not stuff that a regular 8-year-old kid would eat, but there was food, and he just chose not to eat, and he just complained the whole. Well, not just the whole way there, pretty much the whole weekend.
The whole weekend.
That's all we heard from him.
All right. My brother says, here we go. Yeah, you're right. Because I got a bone to pick with my whole family about this thing. So this is not just, we're going to Vermont. Ain't nobody tell me, ain't nobody ask me, let's go to Vermont. So I'm already dragged into this mess. I don't even know where Vermont was, let alone Venezuela. We were talking about, dude, I'm 8 years old. I'm a picky eater. I was a picky eater then. So, like, everything that was fed to me was either white rice con huevo frito and some type of meat, which is still the same menu that we always have, right? A grilled cheese, macaroni and cheese, pizza, hot dogs, what a normal 8-year-old would eat, okay? We're going on this trip. It's 3 hours away. My parents put on this cooler. And in the cooler, they put all the stuff that I don't eat. They put some crazy fruit. They put some cantaloupe in there, some pears. They didn't even bring apples. There wasn't even apples. And if there was an apple, it was, you know the apple that you bite that just get all powdery and nasty? That's the apple they put in there. Bananas that were just all jacked up. Nothing. And then we leave Connecticut to go to Vermont. I didn't eat no breakfast.
Why not?
Because nobody cooked breakfast. No, we gotta go. And it's like drive through Dunkin' Donuts wasn't even invented then. It was just like straight up, you gotta go inside. They weren't gonna stop at Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast. Nada de eso. My dad says, "Be careful, you're coming home." So here's the thing. So we're gonna have to have my mom call in later and have her defend herself.
Yeah. So Bishop Rosa and Elizabeth Rosa, or Junie Rosa, anybody in the Rosa family, if you want to call in, if you call my number, I can put you on.
Yeah,
and we can straighten the record. We can set the record straight.
Yes.
And give Gammy some therapy, maybe.
So here's the thing. We're going over there, and there's no food. Food that I would eat. 3 hours. We do a rest stop. You know how you go to New York? there's like a McDonald's or whatever.
Yep.
There was no McDonald's rest stop. There was.
It's all country.
It was fields. Yeah. It's a rest area. It's an area where you go rest. There was a one vending machine that had like 4 things, and they were all like vegan stuff. There was.
Okay, so we have a caller on the line.
Who's this?
This might be Juni Rosa. Let's see. Hello, brother.
Hold on.
Hello.
Yo,
bro.
On the phone, we have Jose Efrain Rosa Jr. Let's welcome him.
I got to lower the volume of my phone here, my other phone.
What's going on, brother?
You all right?
So this is what we talk about. You know that term privilege?
Privilege?
Yeah. This is
the privilege of not
this
having
is first world problems
food
that he's
or
having.
Buy your food or dress yourself.
Oh man. But okay, so can you explain to the listeners and to people on YouTube and on Facebook, because we're on YouTube and Facebook.
Yep.
This trip to Vermont, can you explain at least the drive? Like, how annoying and how hungry was I from leaving home to just getting that first night to Vermont?
Well, you got to think of it. I have more of a romanticized version of it because it was a tradition. It was a tradition that we had. It was us and Norman and his family. Norman
Martinez,
who's your godfather.
Yep.
And we would leave at the crack of dawn, and we would go to their house. Now, Norman was always an early riser, so they always had breakfast.
Yeah.
At their house.
Yep.
Us, we're at home. We're the get up and go people.
Yep.
So the problem in this trip, and this is a first world problem, was that, dude, you everything was done for you. And,
I was 8.
Well, so was I at one point.
Yeah. But time out. You were 8 going on 35, bro. That's a whole different level, because you had to mature early.
See, but the problem is this. I didn't give mom and dad a hard time when it came to food.
Yeah. This is true. But I prefaced this whole conversation with I was a picky eater.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. It is true.
I mean, and look at me now.
You know what, though? I do. This is my problem is this. You were given a choice, and you were allowed to be picky. I wasn't allowed to be picky. But then again, I like food.
Yeah, well, yes, you do like food. So, but here's the thing: you were forced to eat. So this is what happens. This is my again. I'm thinking I'm the second child, and usually the second child is the more spoiled one than the first one, right? Because parents go really hard on the first one, and then on the second one they're like, okay, we can relax, right? There's 2 of them now, and so at that point I didn't eat that much, but whatever I ate I tore down. So getting into Vermont, what was in the cooler was just fruit, and I didn't eat fruit.
I can attest to that.
Right? So it's just fruit, not even bread, not even cheese, nothing remotely, not chips, no cookies, nothing, and it was water, not even soda, nothing.
So you know what? This sounds like a bit of a root of bitterness on your end.
A root of bitterness, dude. I have a jukai inside, man. I like a taro root in there, about a tree trunk of life.
Yeah, this is part of our purpose with this show, to give therapy to the Rosa brothers, both on not having food on the Vermont trip and not being able to be picky when the second child was allowed to be picky.
Yeah, the trip to Vermont was a very long trip, and we did stop, but it was
that one time where the chick that was there with the leaf. There's video evidence of this stuff of how we stopped.
Yeah.
And
no, there's leaves and more leaves.
And we're not going to talk about your haircut at that point either.
Hey, I was rocking the high top. So,
but you were rocking the high top, and Junito was rocking this thing called a mushroom.
It was some type of mushroom that I was allowed to have for a while.
Oh, you were allowed. Yeah, you were allowed to have for a while, and it was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for calling, bro. I appreciate it, and I hope you're doing well. We have fun the other night.
You got to get to the Mételo en Puño reference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get to that. We're saving the best for last.
We're going to see if we can get dad on the line.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
All right, man. Love you, bro.
Love you, bro.
Love you both.
Bye.
Bye. So, yeah, dude, that is insane. So, we're getting over there to Vermont, and, dude, we don't eat till, like... And then they're trying to make a soup at the same time, a shrimp soup that I don't eat. I'm like, what is your problem, bro? And that was the next day. That wasn't even the day we got there.
That was the next day. Yeah.
I think I ate a piece of bread with cheese that night. I felt like I was in prison, bro.
Yeah, I don't remember what I ate that trip. I don't remember much about what I ate.
Listen, it was.
I know I ate.
You ate because you were a trash compactor back then. You eat whatever they put in front of you.
I will eat anything.
Yeah,
I didn't care.
Shoot, I was looking at rocks like they were bread. You know when they tempted Jesus to go get the bread, I was like, yo, give me some rocks or something, and I would have ate. So we the next.
So let me tell the shrimp soup story.
Oh my God,
and the spaghetti.
Lord Jesus.
Okay, so it's the second day of the Vermont trip, right? And we're in Vermont. We're having fun, and we went to different places, and then we came back to the hotel to eat. And they decided, and how many people were in that trip? Trip all together?
Probably like 13. Probably 13, 14.
Yeah, let's say 15 people. It could be, because in our room alone, it was like 2, 4, 7, or 8.
No, about 8. Then Norman and his wife.
And then Norman, his wife, Sunshine.
And
that kid, some of the kids or something.
Yeah.
So let's say 12 people. So they come out with this big pot to make a shrimp soup for these 12 people. So enough soup for 12 people, you can imagine it was a pretty big pot.
On a stove, on one stove that was like
and
4
they
inch
decided
wide.
to cook this huge soup on this huge pot in this 4-inch round electrical stove, that one of those that you take camping, that it barely has enough heat to heat up water to make coffee or tea or something. So this tiny stove with a huge pot on top of it full of shrimp soup, that thing took like 7 hours to cook. and yeah, we were all hungry, but we made the best of it. The whole 7 hours that the soup is cooking, Mr. Rosa, the youngest of the Rosas, spent the whole time complaining, I don't eat shrimp soup. I don't like shrimp.
I didn't eat shrimp. I don't eat fish or none of that stuff.
I don't like soup. I don't like shrimp or soup. What am I going to eat?
Listen, this is what I say. It was poor planning on my parents' end. They knew I was picky. And
they're going to call Bryson.
I hope they do. I hope they do. And I'm talking to you, Mom and Dad. If you're listening in, you need to call Adan right now, because we need to settle this right now. Because here's the issue. If I'm picky, I'm going to plan for my picky child because he needs to eat something. They didn't care. They were on their own trip doing their own thing, and they're like, yo, que se fastidie Gamaliel, right? But whatever, it's okay. I hold no grudges. I'm a big boy now, right? So here's the issue.
You've made up for it since then in the eating department, right?
Yeah, in the eating department, I'm good, bro. We're chilling. So I go ahead, and I'm like, yo, there's no soup. I can't eat the soup. I don't like shrimp. They didn't bring anything to make a sandwich or make mac and cheese because there was only two stoves, and just one big stove was taking both of them, so they couldn't make me anything either. Yeah. And then so there's two people on the trip that decided to go eat because the soup was taking so long. Yeah. Rosa and Sunshine.
So Rosa and Sunshine go to a restaurant nearby because Rosa Velasquez, she said that she was allergic to shrimp.
Yeah.
And that she couldn't eat.
Inconsiderate people, inconsiderate. Everybody inconsiderate.
So she was allergic, and so looking back now, the shrimp soup idea seems like it could have been better planned. Like it was a bad idea looking back because there were people who were allergic and people who didn't eat shrimp. Not me. I was fine with it. I ate. I was okay. But there were people who didn't like it and other people who were allergic and this and that. So Sunshine and Rosa go to the restaurant, and then they come back, and Rosa has some spaghetti with spaghetti sauce, and she came back with a doggy bag. And here is in the hotel, Mr. Rosa, little Rosa Gamaliel, still complaining about not liking the shrimp soup and not having anything to eat. So Rosa was kind enough, listen, I brought back some spaghetti and sauce. Why don't you have the spaghetti and sauce?
Listen, let's just back up for 2 seconds, all right? When I saw that, when they left, I was crying. You ever seen like a kid at the windowsill looking out when the kids play, and they're like, take me with you? I'm like, yo, bring me back some, like my parents could have been like, traile algo al nene, like, uno chicken nuggets o algo wherever you're going. No. They were trying to pull the whole, you're going to eat this and nothing, no, right? So, listen, they came in with a doggy bag. I'm like, yes, maybe some French fries, some leftover steak or something.
Junie is mentioning that the shrimp soup was also a tradition.
Yeah, but I think this was in '94. If memory serves me right, that's the first time we went. I think
you guys had gone already. At least once or twice.
No me recuerdo because Junior correct us.
Junie wouldn't call it a tradition if that was the first time.
I think we went 1 year before.
I wasn't here then. I had just got here a couple of months before that trip.
Yeah, or when they went, which is a custom of my parents, they go on vacation and they don't bring me anywhere.
Yeah, so it seems like the soup was also a tradition. So
mira, the issue was that they come back with a doggy bag, and I'm like, yo, some French fries, some chicken nuggets, anything, I'll tear it up. They're like, oh, I brought some spaghetti. I'm thinking, yo, spaghetti with ragu sauce is going down. Yo, when they open that thing in front of me, bro, and it would open up in slow motion. I thought I was gonna see the glory of God. And I get where's the womp womp? Nope, not that one. That's scary, man. Nope. I thought it was gonna be that, but it was that. It was this pale spaghetti with this chunky tomato soup that there wasn't even sauce. It was like a tomato, like from a salad, and then like a little bit of sauce. And I'm like, yo, this is prison. I'm in prison. I'm like, this is another level of a child abuse that was invented, bro. So I'm sitting there and I'm dude, like I sank into my soul. I'm like, I'm never gonna get out of this. I'm so hungry. I just want chicken or something. Yo, my brother looks at me and he's like, yo, you eat that at home. Like, what's your problem? And at this point, I get my parents up to here, bro. They're like angry at me.
Well, yeah, there was a conversation between you and Junie. You better eat that because that's all there is. Like, but I don't like it. What, you eat that at home? What do you mean you don't like it? And so it was the back and forth, and Bishop Rosa is listening to the whole thing, and the complaining and the back and forth, and then you better eat that because there's nothing else. So, the only thing else to do is to eat is the shrimp, and you don't like the shrimp, so you better eat that. That's all there is. But you eat it at home. What are you complaining about?
Listen, my dad.
I don't like chunky tomatoes.
That was the one. That was the part. It was like, yo, I don't like.
That was the last straw.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
I don't like chunky tomatoes.
Yo, y papi que sordo. My dad is deaf. He heard that and he was like, it was like, like, yo, he came out like a beast, bro. And he was like, I'm going to tell you something. You better eat that or you're not going to eat nothing at all.
Yeah. He was the old, "Si a mi vida, querido."
Listen, my father was so heated, bro. Like, he spoke into my soul and everything clenched. I was like, yo, I'm going to have to eat this. I ate it because I had to. There was nothing else. I didn't like it. It was dry. It was not dude, it was bad, bro. And I just remember, like, once that trip was over, we had fun, mind you. We had fun. We went to the Apple Festival. We did a bunch of stuff, and we had a great time as a family. But the one part of that whole, which here's the kicker of all this, is that the video was sent to Venezuela, to your family. And I could just imagine their idea of what, like, yo, ese nene malcriado, que no le dan comer. I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm like, I hope they see that, like, that's la cosa tan mala allá. We need to send Adan back over here. They're not feeding him. I'm like, yeah, right. Adan ate like 17. You ate 7 bowls of soup that day.
I ate soup with shrimp and celery and rice and all kinds of stuff.
Celery? Who eats celery? Dios mío.
When you put it in a shrimp soup, it tastes really good.
Yeah,
little hot sauce.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that trip was also. I mean, that was the beginning. I think that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship that we've cultivated over the last 20-something years.
3 to 20. It's going on 27
years
this summer.
Yeah, man. And it's something that
damn, we old.
We old. No, bro. I got a couple of white hairs on my mustache already, bro. Y mira, se me cayó el pelo. So we're it's something that I know that this is a brother. Like, people ask me how many brothers you got. I say I got 2. I got 2 brothers.
Yep.
And I always have to explain people. It's like I have a legitimate brother, and then I have another brother who's like adopted to me, and then just that whatever. And he's been in my life for how long? And he's Venezuelan, different mother, different dad, but this is part. It's family.
Yeah. And the same with me. When I speak by the Rosa family, there's people who you treat like family, and then there's people who are family.
Yeah.
The Rosa family, to me, they are family. They're not like family, but they are actual family. And that's the way I refer to them, and we spend, all holidays and all occasions and all day to day and everything. So it's been a blessing. I came from Venezuela because of the Rosa family, and here I've been blessed abundantly with a family, with a wife, with a son, with a ministry, with a church, with pastors, and family. So it's been a good all-around blessing for me. So I think we've been on for about an hour.
Yeah. That went pretty fast.
That went pretty fast, yeah.
So it took 5 hours to set up and then 1 hour to actually record.
We were 4 hours late, but we finally got it out.
Yeah.
And I think it looked okay and it sounded okay. So this is an overall okay experience.
Yeah.
We were, we had as many as like 5 viewers.
5 viewers at a time. Sometimes when some people come in, come out.
Yeah. So we have 25 comments. That's got to be some sort of a record somewhere.
At least for this first show, for the first show.
Yeah. 25 comments, like 4 or 5 viewers or something. So I think we did good.
Yeah, man.
And I appreciate. Thank you very much, brother, for coming and talking to me.
Yes, sir.
It was fun.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
It was like a dream come true to have the first episode of Time Out.
Yeah, man. Whenever you want to have me back, bro, I'm down.
Of course. So say goodbye to everybody.
Well, everybody viewing here on the show, Time Out, appreciate you're here. All my family, all my friends that were here. We wanted to have we got a phone call in. We got which is really cool. We got to play with everything. But thank you everybody for coming. Tune in next time to Time Out with Adan Hernandez. Love you guys. Thanks.
Bye everybody. This is the end of our show today. If I can only figure out how to stop the show. Can you tell me how to stop the show?
Well, this is the part that we were fearing, right? We were trying to figure out how do we stop this thing.
Because there's no end or.
Yeah. So
if anybody knows, in the comments can tell us how to stop this, because I don't see no end button here.
So AJ, put camera one on your dad so that way they're not looking at me looking at the stuff over here. Let me see if I can figure it out. Just keep the music going.
Okay. So meanwhile, I just sit here and look pretty.
Good intro though, right?
Yeah, a little short though because we needed 3 hours of outro.
Alright, so I think you came out of this.
Oh, I know how to stop it. I remember.
It says press stop streaming, Pablo.
Yeah.